Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 28 of my modded Factorio playthrough. This is part 2 of 3 of my algae setup. Enjoy! Alright, so the first step here is to figure out how we're going to place these algae farms. They're not only the first step of this process, but they're also the largest, so they're going to have the biggest impact on the design of the stamp. Whenever you're building something this big, you should probably do belt calculations ahead of time to find out how many belts you're going to need. We don't have the luxury of building red belts or blue belts. We just have the yellows, and they're not very fast, so we need to figure out, do we need 1 belt or 2? Or more? An algae farm creates 40 algae every 20 seconds. That's 2 algae per second. But it runs at a speed of 0.75. So that's 1.5, but we have 10 of them. That's 15 algae per second. And a yellow belt is 13.3. So just barely 1 belt is not enough. So we need to design this with 2 belts in mind. And since positioning doesn't really matter, I'm just going to build it right here. And then we're just going to use robots to move them around. But it looks like we're going to need more belts. Alright, let's grab some more of those belts. Maybe some other things too, like circuit boards. Why not? So we're going to need 2 belts. So let's place those down. We can put them in the middle. And then maybe put 5 algae farms on each side. Is this going to be too big? I think we can squish them this close. Is there another way to do it? Not something that's easily divisible by 10. Hopefully you find entertainment out of building something that's big. It's fun calculating this stuff, so if you haven't built any large, complicated angels setups yet, then maybe you might learn something from this. At least maybe my thought process in how I built things. Let's set the recipe up. There's some other considerations we want to do before we go further. And that's the pipes. Each one of these is going to have 2 inputs. And to save on pipes, it helps to rotate them so they share inputs right here. Especially because if we take this stamp and place it over here, then the fitting on this guy will match the fitting on this guy. So they will be shared. So there's a benefit. Let's see, the easy way is probably to feed the pipe straight across. So let's just do this. We're going to need some stone, because we have none, or no stone pipes anyway. Across. Across. Fortunately though, it's going to be difficult to walk up here and do any kind of maintenance if we don't put annoying little undergrounds right here. Seems like kind of a waste, but if you do that, it will allow you to cross over. It's just barely enough of a gap for a dude to walk across, so guess we're gonna have to do that. Let's get the undergrounds fixed. Alright, so inserters. 1.5, I believe, per second was what we calculated. So that's 2 red inserters. For symmetry reasons, I was thinking, let's put them on each side of the pipe, like this. But we're going to have to get power to them, and that means that's going to take 2 power poles, which might be a little odd. So perhaps there's a better way of just putting them maybe at the top of the machine like this. And actually, now that I think about it, top placement is going to help out. And I will show you why in a second. Alright, if we connect these like this, now, all of these machines are connected on the same carbon dioxide line. Let's make sure power can get up here. Which side would be better for power? Looks like it has to be up here because of the underground lines on each side. Is that going to reach? It looks like it does. Those will also provide power to the algae farm itself. Kind of want the flashing to stop, so I'm going to try to hook these up to something. There we go. Okay, that step looks pretty good. Let's get the pipes on the other side here, the mineralized water. Just going to require steel pipes, or iron pipes if you're being cheap. It looks like we are quite low on steel. I'll pick up a bunch. It's kind of concerning because we are quite low on sapphire, but there's nothing to be done about that. We just have to try to be as reasonably efficient as possible. Yeah, 13k, that is not much. Just have to be careful and cross our fingers and hope we don't run out. I'm gonna pick up probably a third stack. Okay, let's get the mineralized water set up. Let's have the pipes meet at the top. As far as where? How far is this going to reach? Is this going to reach all the way? No, of course not. Never quite that easy. That's kind of close, though. Alright, let's make some regular steel pipes. And we can fill this up. I don't think there's any benefit to having an underground there. It would just consume more resources. I mean, I guess you could put a pipe straight down the middle. I'm trying to think if there's an advantage to having underground. I mean, it's less clunky, I think. So I'll leave the undergrounds in there. Okay, there's our repeatable pattern. I mean, this part anyway. Just as an example, you see, if we copy this, and we wanted to place another one, because we placed those pipes in that way, when we place another one, they will just line over and share. So we can just go glurp, and then everything will copy. We haven't hooked up carbon dioxide yet, but there's a reason for that. Okay, now we need those 10 algae farms to go into 3 liquefiers. And how to do this kind of depends on the liquefiers and how many inserters each liquefier needs. Because they're going to probably need quite a bit. Okay, so each machine is going to need 10 green algae every 3 seconds, but at a speed of 1.5. That's 5 per second, which is going to require 4.3 total red inserters. So 3 inserters regular and 1 corner should be enough. So it's going to look like this. It's going to be inserter, 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 and then this one's going to be a corner one. They're not completely symmetrical, so I guess we can just do something like this. Just 3 of them next to each other, with inserters kind of looking like that. Let's try to place one in the middle. It doesn't look like it's going to be completely centered, but that's okay. Actually, we can kind of center it a little bit. If we pick that up and move it over just a little bit, like this. Have the corner inserter be here, and have those. Means these can go down and split that way, and then come back, and then meet right in the middle like this. So just to be lazy, let's copy that, place it here, place it here. Let's move these power poles out of the way a little bit. We're not going to need them in a little bit. And then fix these belts. So something like this. It looks like we can squish this up. It's going to come out here, down, and around to meet right there. And this one can come up here, down here, and then meet right there. So let's be blueprint master. Pick this up. Mark it for removal. And then it should place right there. And no more robots. This isn't completely 100% symmetrical because these 2 inserters are slower than these 2 inserters. But the amount is tiny, so this probably won't be a 100% maximum output thing. Just because of these inserter limitations right here. Because these 2 inserters are doing the equivalent of 2 red inserters worth of work. But a quarter inserter does 1.5. So these 2 are doing 2.5 inserters worth of work. Well, these ones are only doing 2. So there's going to be a not quite 100% maximum output here. But that's okay. We weren't going to use 100% of this anyway. And again, we're not that far from blue inserters. I mean, I guess they're still kind of a ways away, but once we have the second tier of circuits, we're going to have those blue inserters, and then inserter limitations like this is not going to be a problem anymore. So let's put power poles in. Then we can get rid of these weird ones. Like that. Set these up properly. And we need to get the corner inserters in. Okay, from there, we need to feed these 3 liquefiers into 5 assembly machines. Now, is there a cute way to do direct insertion without belts? Anytime you can avoid using belts, it's something that you should do. So, if we place these, maybe it might be possible. Just smush them in there. I don't know if that's going to work, honestly. Let's set it up and find out. So these are going to be the wood pellet machines. Each one of these ones here is going to output 5 fibers every 3 seconds, times a speed of 1.5. So 2.5, which is just barely, but 3 red inserters. Maybe I'm going to put some lights here. That's one thing we didn't do with that other design. Put some lights to try to make some sense of it. So I did the math here. And if you go to an assembly machine, it needs 12 fibers every 4 seconds, which is 3 per second, but it runs at half speed. So it means that each machine needs 1.5 fibers per second, which is either 2 straight inserters, 2 straight reds, or 1 corner red. So each one of these machines needs to be covered either by a corner or 2 straights. So this machine has a corner, this machine has 2 straights, this one has 2 straights, this one has 2 straights, and this one has the corner. Why are these corners here? They're not needed for speed, but if you look, this machine feeds 2, this machine feeds 2, this machine only feeds 1, so it needs more. So it needs to spread the load around, so that's why they're there. I haven't tested this, and this design is actually substantially different than the one I built in the original file, and that's kind of exciting. I'm getting to rebuild something differently just because I'm kind of surprising myself that I did the math and determined that there's a better way of doing it than I did before. And I was previously pretty proud of the way I did it before, so I'm also kind of proud of it looking like it's going to turn out even better. So I don't know if this is going to work. I've calculated that it will, so let's go with it. Okay, these are kind of in the way. I'll just pick them up for now. And I'll put them down again. I don't want to forget that we need 5. We've got all of these machines. What are they going to output? 2 pellets every 4 seconds, which is a half a pellet, but they only go at half speed, so that's only a quarter pellet per second. So each one of these can easily be serviced by 1 yellow inserter. Which we can power. Now I want to try to make this thing look as symmetrical as possible. I'm getting proud of it now. Okay, that seems good. What about lights? I'll put the lights on this side. I'll put it right here, right there, and right there, since there's no undergrounds on that side. There might be some other problems I'm not thinking about getting the carbon out of there. Is that going to reach? It will not. Okay, that's fine. We just have to do it up at the top. Which, if we do it at the top, but then those will kind of be in the way. Nah, I'll do it this way. I know I just picked them up, or just put them down, but let's pick them up again. There we go, and then these go up. Since those power lines are there, I'll just do this. And we can get rid of those middle ones. There we go, and that's just a lot less undergrounds, which is a good deal, because undergrounds are fairly expensive. I think they're about 20 iron per underground. Yeah, 22.5. So saving them for later is a good deal. And then these are just connected. Alright, we have our basic setup here. I'm not going to put the belts down because that might change depending on how we do things. But this right here is our initial repeating pattern. So the ratio was 30 algae farms to these 5, so we need to repeat this 2 more times. And thank goodness for robots, because that would be real monotonous to build 3 times. That should be good, yep. Presumably it's fine to just place it here. I'm trying to think of it being in the way. I'd hate to have to move it just like a couple of squares in one direction. But that should place now. Yes. And we're probably going to find out we are vastly short on all kinds of resources. And I might as well place one on the other side as well. Now we're dealing with water being in the way. But will it fit? Yes. Why is that one on the corner? Oh no, because there's a thing there. Boo. I guess I'll place it over here. We might just have to move everything because of that tiny little bit of water. Do we have landfill yet? No. But it requires green research, which we can't do. So we're going to have to wait on that. Well, let's get rid of some more trees. I'm going to place the algae farms last because they're so large and they're going to limit our ability to walk around. So this will allow constructing it to be much easier if we wait to the algae farms for last. Alright, let's place that guy. It's like, no way we're going to have enough robots for all of this. I think I'm going to do this one resource at a time, just to make sure there's no uncovered elements. Because that's a lot of stuff we have to build right here. Alright, I think that does it for inserters. But we will want to take a second to make sure they're all set properly before we continue. These ones over here are pickup and drops. Looks like these guys on the left are pickup and drops. And then invert that for the guys on the right. Oops, I picked that thing up real quick. And we need our 6 liquefiers. And then 10 assembly machines. It looks like we're short on motors, so might as well pick up some more to make that crafting a little faster. Short on everything. This is quite the construction project. And then our 20 algae farms, which we can't make. Only make 15. What are we short on? Iron. I mean, each one of these algae farms is 30 stone. Yeah, stone bricks, so that is a lot. Alright, let's place all these guys. Alright, we need to place this last one by hand here because I accidentally got rid of it. Doesn't really matter how it's placed. Might look slightly better if the arrows are pointing down because that's the direction of product, even though they don't consume any liquids. And last is these algae farms. Now, upon reflection about how big this was and how much resources it took, I think I'm going to make the executive decision to not build 2 of these, because this is only half of what we need. This will produce 150 carbon dioxide a second. And we need 210, in theory. But building this twice, it just seems too many resources, especially iron, considering the patch is so low. I can't even... Whoop, 10k. It's going to consume too much iron, so I'm worried about that. So even though this isn't as much as we need, in theory, it should be enough. And it's going to be a perfect ratio, so if we need more, we could just copy this whole thing and just copy it over and hopefully have some landfill to get rid of that. It'll be very straightforward. However, in building this, I've now seen a pattern. We need to get carbon dioxide down here because we're going to be producing it down here. But these pipes are blocked by these machines, but not here. So I believe what that means is I want to reverse all of these machines. So let me do that real quick. Okay. Also, though, the pipes are backwards because now the stones are on the inside when we wanted steels on the inside. But this is what Upgrade Planner is for. So I'm going to put it over here to mark that this is only temporary. We want to take stone pipes, turn them into steel. Stone underground into steels. Should work. I don't think it'll be pipeception. I think this will work. We want to take steels and turn them into stones. So we're going to do a little switcheroo. So let's see if this is pipeception or if this works. So if I just select all of these, it should auto-replace them unless we're out of resources. Insufficient. What are we insufficient on? Okay. Finally. We're good. I'm just looking at slight improvements we could do to the factory. I'm always about those slight improvements. If we move these last 2 over slightly, we can save 1 square on the height of this thing. can also connect them. I'll leave them. I was thinking we probably don't need to connect the carbons on the top, but I'll leave them connected there. So the final step is we have these 5 liquefiers here that need to produce the carbon dioxide. So the question is, how many inserters? What kind of situation do we need? What kind of belts? All that stuff. Okay, to make carbon dioxide, each machine needs 1 pellet every 2 seconds, which is 0.5. Go at a speed of 1.5, so that's 0.75, so 1 yellow will be fine for each. And that's plenty within what a standard yellow belt can do. Let's feed these in. And let's find a neat little place to put these carbon producers. I want it to be as symmetrical as possible. So something like this. Alright, each one of these, yeah, it's 0.75, so 1 yellow. We calculated that already. And then that's it. Probably want some lights down here. And just stone pipes connected together. Oops. Exactly enough. And then, well, not quite though. Let's make a few more. Boom, put 1 more. And then the storage tank. This way, although we're not producing, in theory, as much as we might need, I'll put it this way, the storage tank will be a buffer, so we could, during downtime, work hard to catch up for any lost production, because we didn't build enough of this. But this should be enough for now, though. This is a pretty good setup, I think. I'm pretty proud of this little square we got here. So the last thing we need to do for here, anyway, is to hook up the carbon dioxide that's being produced to feed it back into the algae farms. So that means stone pipes. And stone. We probably still have a ton of stone, yeah. More than we could possibly deal with right now. But, you know, some angels and bobs, man. You use stone. You use tons of stone, so it looks crazy, but we're eventually going to use it all for something. Let's see, is this going to reach? No, it's going to require 2. Alright, well that light can't go there. Okay, and that's a slightly different position. Oh, that makes me feel bad. I like it being perfect. Wah. Wah. Okay. This is getting fixed. If I'm going to have asymmetry, it's going to be up there. Because where it matters is down here. This is the part everyone's going to look at. So it's right there. There we go. Alright, so the carbon dioxide will come up here. It's going to be a little weird, but it's going to come all the way to the top. Come up through there. Ooh. Because these are stone. They're not steel, so they can't reach all the way. Let's see. How far can they reach? Oh, I care about symmetry. Everything has to be perfect. At least as perfect as reasonably possible. The alternative to this, to having this come up here, is these are going to have to come down here and then feed over. Which, actually, now that I look at it, isn't the worst idea in the world. Okay, let's change it again. So these are all going to need to come down to some extent. Stone. To there, right there. Then come in through the side. It is a little weird that they're kind of sitting off to the side, but it's not like this space was going to be used for anything. This is going to be kind of a blueprint square, so it's not that important. It's a little squished in here. Honestly, it probably should be moved over, but I don't know if I want to pick this whole thing up just to move it over a few squares. Plus, considering that once we load the next save file, this cool new snazzy setup is going to be gone. But Okay, that's it up there. So now we need to go back to the beginning of the process, which was the mineralized water. Now that we've got all the machines placed down, it's time to turn them all on and work out the bugs and kinks. And that's going to have to wait till the next episode, so I will see you later.